Hi, Caleb here, and today we're going to be exploring some of the haunted history of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Hope you guys enjoy.
Okay, so our first stop on our little haunted tour of Guthrie is the Santa Fe Depot, um, which is believed to be haunted by a woman who lived upstairs when the location was operating as a Harvey House restaurant, which is a restaurant that is on the railways. It's basically a chain restaurant. Um, the woman was supposedly a waitress at the restaurant when she fell in love with a man who worked on the rails, and then one day his letters that he would write to her stopped coming. And in her heartbreak, she walked up and down the tracks waiting for him. And now there's stories of train conductors going down the tracks, obviously, because they're driving train, and they will see a woman walking across the tracks in white, and they won't be able to stop in time, and they'll hit her. And by the time they stop the train and they get out and they look for her, there's no body or anything. Now, there's a lot of ghost stories similar to that, but that's a history, or that's a ghost story of this place. There's also supposed to be footsteps heard in the old Santa Fe Depot, and from what I hear, it is now a restaurant. Now just a restaurant. And as we go down the road, we will head to the Bluebell Saloon, and the Mrs. Lizzie's brothel. Now, if you don't know, Guthrie was the original capital of Oklahoma, but Oklahoma City quickly grew in size, so the I don't really know who gets to choose what place becomes capital, but they switched it to Oklahoma City because of how far it grew, which made Guthrie actually become basically like a time capsule, because it didn't grow as fast. Anyway, so here is the doorway up to the old brothel. It actually sprang up in 1989, one of the many in Oklahoma Land Rush. Miss Lizzie and her frontier prostitutes quickly became some of the star attractions in town. At night, loud ramblings were said to be heard coming from upstairs area. And now the brothel is closed to the public, but now many people claim they can hear people moving around from upstairs, and shadows are sometimes seen moving behind the curtain windows, like up above there. And right under the brothel sits the Bluebell Saloon. It is claimed that a man was murdered near the bar of the old saloon, and many people claim to have a very easy feeling when venturing near the restrooms, and it said people sometimes see a cowboy walk up to the bar, and in the reflection of the mirror, like they'll be sitting at the bar, and in the reflection they'll see a cowboy walk up behind them, and then they'll turn around and no one will be there. Another legend that, from what it sounds like, actually rings true is that the alleged tunnels, of the alleged tunnels that exist under Guthrie, many towns in Oklahoma actually have tunnels. Famous are Tulsa and Oklahoma City. The legend claims that one of the main tunnel's entrances is actually in the Guthrie basement. And they would allow people to go through the tunnels, basically, so you wouldn't be seen going in and out of a saloon back in the olden days. Now, I tried to find an entrance to the tunnel, and this is actually what we're seeing right now, is me looking for some of the old entrances, because basically, from what I found in research, they were doing a lot of digging on, like, these little, like, there's parts of the tunnel, obviously, but they've closed off the main parts that actually connect all the buildings. I was told there's still multiple entrances, but I was having trouble finding any of them, and they're not really on public record. But yeah, I flipped my camera upside down so we could see this section of it, which I don't know why it edited like that, but that's weird. Okay, and now we are at the first territorial prison in the Sumerian cult house in Guthrie, or in 1892. Guthrie was home to one of the very first federal prisons in the Midwest, labeled the Black Jail by its inmates. Inmates Bill Doolin and also the Dalton Gang. The prison closed in the early 90s, and the Nazarene Church occupied it from the 70s. And then the Sumerian Foundation, until 1995, officially closed in the late 90s after the Department of Human Resources declared the structure to be unfit for children that lived in the compound. Now, the prison is supposedly haunted by James Phillips, who died in 1907. He was supposed to be hung, but when he woke up one day and looked out his cell window, he saw the gallows being built across the road and fell back and died, and the doctor said he died of fright. His ghost is said to walk the halls of the prison, and disembodied voices are said to be heard on the first floor, in the basement area, and sounds of metal doors slamming shut are heard to be heard through the building, regardless of the fact that there's only one metal door that remains to this day. And it's reported that even sounds of coughing are occasionally heard from the inside the old cells. Now, the story behind the Sumerian cult could probably fill a whole video by itself, including basically all these places could probably fill a video all by themselves. But the cult, there's no proof 100% that anyone was killed in the jail by them. But no, there was some suspicious devil worshipping that might have been going on in the building. And some of those bad feelings could still be locked in those old cells. So, overall, pretty creepy place. And if you guys enjoyed these, I might do a separate video for each of them, or, ones that interest you guys more than the others. I'll see you guys next week.
And those were just some of the haunted places in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay, if you push this circle right here, you'll subscribe to my channel, and if you push this one right here, it'll take you to the previous hike, and then this one right here will take you to the full playlist of all the Oklahoma hikes.